slept till 9 o'clock this morning, so I wasn't going to do anything to do, but I figured see how it goes for Tuesday. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. It is AA. My first AA on Tuesday evening. See how this one goes today and if we can get some people in here. Of course, my sponsor's here. Hey, Tony. Just Dream Weather. Hello. My sister Lily T is here usually. I don't have a message from her yet. We came back a few days early. The dog was shivering the whole time, and I felt bad because his coat wasn't keeping him warm. And good thing we came home today because about a half hour ago, my mom called and said that they banned fires up there, so we can't have a campfire, which means we would have been freezing. And so I'm glad that we came home. Hi, Bama. Oh, you changed your name. Okay. I'm glad you're here. And this dog's gonna kill my shoulder again. But yeah, he did all right. He was cold, but that's a lesson we needed to learn. Never had a small dog go camping with us, so the first time for everything, and he did really good. He did really good. He's a good boy. But he's gonna be snoring a lot because he got his meds for going somewhere because he gets car sick, and he didn't get sick on the way up there or on the way home. Thank goodness. We questioned it a few times, especially on the way up because he had never been given this med before to help him not get car sick, and it works really well. It makes him sleepy, so he was actually able to relax and go to sleep on the way up and on the way home. So it took us a little bit to get him relaxed enough to, trust that I'm not going to let him fall off the seat. But he did really good. Having a little dog up there is a little more nerve-wracking than having the bigger dogs. Only reason is because he's smaller and not being able to see him very well in the trees and stuff. It's a little nerve-wracking, but we were not near the river, so he was not going to go floating down the river. And but yeah, he did really good for the 2 days that we were up there. But it was just a testing trip, so I'm gonna put him down. He's getting heavy. We'll see that, writers. Anyways, I'm Sarah, and I'm an alcoholic, and today is an AA meeting. So please be mindful of the people in the comments and the chat, and no judging each other, please. And not everybody here is a recovering alcoholic or alcoholic who needs help. I find that the meetings actually help people know how to help a friend or family member who is an alcoholic. So, just so you know. Anyways, let's get on with it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we're reading the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. Just so you know, we're on step 8, page 77, if I'm remembering correctly. Connie is over on the Facebook side. So, all right. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So we're on step 8, page 77, in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. If you don't have it, don't worry, I'm going to read it anyways. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. Step 8 and 9 are concerned with personal relations. First, we take a look backwards and try to discover where we have been at fault. Next, we make a vigorous attempt to repair the damage we have done. And third, having thus cleaned away the debris of the past, we consider how, with our newfound knowledge of ourselves, we may develop the best possible relations with every human being we know. This is a very large order. It is a task which we may perform with increasing skill, but never really finish. Learning how to live in the greatest peace, partnership, and brotherhood with all men and women of whatever description is a moving and fascinating adventure. Every AA has found that he can make little headway in the new adventure of living until he first backtracks and really makes an accurate and unsparing survey of the human wreckage he has left in his wake. To a degree, he has already done this when taking moral inventory, but now the time has come when he ought to redouble his efforts to see how many people he has hurt, and in what ways. This reopening of emotional wounds, some old, some perhaps forgotten, and some still painfully festering, will at first look like a purposeless and pointless piece of surgery. But if a willing start is made, hey Lily, then the great advantage of doing this will so quickly reveal themselves that the pain will be lessened as one obstacle after another melts away. These obstacles, however, are very real. The first and one of the most difficult has to do with forgiveness. The moment we ponder and twisted or broken relationship with another person, our emotions go on the defensive. To escape looking at the wrongs we have done another, we resentfully focus on the wrong he has done us. This is especially true if he has in fact behaved badly at all. Triumphantly, we seize upon his misbehavior as the perfect excuse for minimizing or forgetting our own. Right here, we need to fetch ourselves up sharply. It doesn't make much sense when a real tosspot calls a kettle black. Let's remember that alcoholics are not the only ones bedevilled by sick emotions. Moreover, it is usually a fact that our behavior when drinking has aggravated the defects of others. We repeatedly strained the patience of our best friends to a snapping point and have brought out the very worst in those who didn't think much of us to begin with. In many instances, we are really dealing with fellow sufferers, people whose woes we have increased. If we are now about to ask forgiveness for ourselves, why shouldn't we start out by forgetting them or one and all? Just a second. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. I see you in there, Tony, on Facebook. When listing the people we have harmed, most of us hit another solid obstacle. We got a pretty severe shock when we realized that we were preparing to make a face-to-face admission of our wretched conduct to those we had hurt. It had been embarrassing enough when, in confidence, we had admitted these things to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. But the prospect of actually visiting or even writing the people concerned now overwhelmed us, especially when we remembered in what poor favor we stood with most of them. You can turn that air conditioner on, please. It's hot in here. Okay, sorry, I lost my spot again. These were cases, too, where we had damaged others who were still happily unaware of being hurt. Why we cried, shouldn't bygones be bygones? Why do we have to think of these people at all? These were some of the ways in which fear conspired with pride to hinder our making a list of all persons we had harmed, all people, sorry. Some of us, though, tripped over a very different snag. We clung to the claim that when drinking, we never hurt anybody but ourselves. Our families didn't suffer because we always paid the bills and seldom drank at home. Our business associates didn't suffer because we were usually on the job. Our reputations hadn't suffered because we were certain few knew of our drinking. Those who did would sometimes assure us that, after all, a lively bender was only a good man's fault. What real harm, therefore, had we done? No more, surely, than we could easily mend with a few casual apologies. This attitude, of course, is the end result of purposeful forgetting. It is an attitude which can only be changed by a deep and honest search of our motives and actions. Though in some cases we cannot make restitution at all, and in some cases action ought to be deferred, we should nevertheless make an acute and really exhaustive survey of our past life was as it has affected other people. In many instances, we shall find that though the harm done others has not been great, the emotional harm we have done ourselves has. Very deep, sometimes quite forgotten, damaging emotional conflicts persist below the level of consciousness at the time of these occurrences. These may actually have given our emotions violent twists which have since discolored our personalities and altered our lives the for the worse. While the purpose of making restitution to others is paramount, it is equally necessary that we extricate from an examination of our personal relations every bit of information about ourselves and our fundamental difficulties that we can. Since defective relations with other human beings have nearly always been the immediate cause of our woes, including our alcoholism, no field of investigation could yield more satisfying and vulnerable rewards than this one. Calm, thoughtful reflections upon personal relations can deepen our insight. We can go far beyond those things which were superficially wrong with us, to see those flaws which were basic flaws, which sometimes were responsible for the whole pattern of our lives. Thoroughness we have found we have found will pay and pay handsomely. We might next ask ourselves what we mean when we say that we have harmed other people. What kinds of harm do people do one another anyway? To define the word harm in a practical way, we might call it the result of instinct in collision, which cause physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual damage to people. If our tempers are constantly bad or consistently bad, we arouse anger in others. If we lie or cheat, we deprive others not only of their worldly goods, but of their emotional securities and peace of mind. We really issue them an invitation to become contemptuous and vengeful. If our sex conduct is selfish, we may excite jealousy, misery, and a strong desire to retaliate in kind. Such gross misbehavior is not by any means a full catalog of the harms we do. Let us think of some of the subtler ones which can sometimes be quite as damaging. Suppose that in our family lives we happen to be miserably irresponsible, callous, or cold. Suppose that we are irritable, critical, impatient, and humorless. Suppose we lavish attention upon one member of the family and neglect the others. What happens when we try to dominate the whole family, either by a rule of iron or by a constant outpouring of minute directions for just how their lives should be lived from hour to hour? What happens when we wallow in depression, self-pity oozing from every pore, an instinct that upon those about us, such a roster of harms done others, the kind that make daily living with us as practicing alcoholics difficult and often unbearable, could be extended almost indefinitely. When we take such personal traits as these into shop, office, and the society of our fellows, they can do damage almost as extensive as that we have caused at home. Having carefully surveyed this whole area of human relations and having decided exactly what personality traits is in us injured and disturbed others, we can now commence to ransack memory for the people to whom we have given offense. To put a finger on the nearby and most deeply damaged ones shouldn't be hard to do. Then, as year by year we walk back through our lives as far as memory will reach, we shall be bound to construct a long list of people who have to some extent or other been affected. We should, of course, ponder and weigh each instance carefully. We shall want to hold ourselves to the course of admitting the things we have done, meanwhile forgiving the wrongs done us, real or fancied. We should avoid extreme judgments, both of ourselves and of others involved. We must not exaggerate our defects or theirs. A quiet, objective view will be our steadfast aim. Whenever our pencil falters, we can fortify and cheer ourselves by remembering what AA experience in this step has meant to others. It is the beginning of the end of isolation from the fellows and from God. That one's short. This is the one where you start to go through all of those people that we had wronged in whatever way. Even if we didn't feel it was our fault, we still had a part in that. So we need to still make amends for those things, and it's for our part. And one thing that because my sister came in 8 months after I got sober, and she wasn't sure how to make those amends to such people. I still to this day don't know how to make those amends directly right off the bat. I'm still making amends for my drinking days 11 years later. Um, but I do make those amends when I can. It also depends on when you feel safe to do that. And so, what I told my sister was um, she could send a card or write a letter or what have you and apologize for your part in whatever it was. And like I tell everybody, it's when you do make your amends, that person may not accept your amends, but that's on them, not on you, because you tried to make amends on your part. And that's what it is about. It's so that we're not carrying that around with us all the time. And we have done our part in that step for that purpose and that person. And you're not trying to fix that other person's thoughts about you. You're trying to make it right for yourself. Because if you're thinking about those things constantly and wondering, did this person accept it and blah, 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 and how many times do I need to go back and repeat this amend? I don't need that. You don't need to ask for amends more than once. And sometimes it's hard for somebody to not accept that on their own part when they do make that amends because they want that satisfaction of that other person acknowledging it. But we can't do that. We can only do us. We can't think for other people. We can't make other people accept your apologies. That's not how it works. How it works is we do us and we make us right. And that is making those amends to such people wherever possible. And not always can we do that. Now, somebody might have passed on and you need to make your amends or what have you on that. All you can do for that is just pray that, that your amends are being heard. And um, I'm sure they are. And just acknowledging that you tried to make that amend, it it helps. And some people find it hard to understand to make amends to somebody that's passed on, and it can be hard. And that's one of my sponsors things that she had asked. I'll never forget those questions because I've always thought about that. Um, like seriously, what if that person's already gone and I can't verbally or face to face or write a letter or give them a call. I can't do that because they're not here anymore. Then what do I do? So but making amends is for us to know that we did try to make that step with another person, and that's all we can do is make our part happen, and we can't make somebody accept it, but we have to accept that we have made that amends, and you know that's all we can do. One thing that I always think about is my father didn't make amends. Maybe he is now, but I don't know. He passed on. And so that was one of my things is I needed to make amends for that, and it wasn't my spot to make amends for. And so that's what having a sponsor is for too. Is your sponsor should know how to go about those things, and having a sponsor that asks those questions for herself also makes, making amends to such people that aren't here anymore. It it helps their sponsees understand, so if she's asking this, then she's gonna know what I need to know. And it helps a lot. And you know, I just got lucky on my first meeting and got a sponsor. I didn't even know what a sponsor was for or why I needed one or if I even needed one because nobody told me any of that stuff when I first started. But that was one of my first things I did when I started AA. And I'm glad I did because she's there anytime I need her. So, but I came back early from camping because the dog was cold and it was miserable. And then my mom calls and she's like, "Good thing you came home today because they banned fires up there. So we would have been really freezing and loading up in the middle of the night to come home. And I'm glad we did it during the day." And yeah, it sprinkled on our way home, but we're home. Everything's inside. Mom's got her truck back, all in one piece. So it was okay. We had a surprise visit last night. My oldest came up there with the grandkids, and that was pretty cool. I got to see them outside of my home and up on the mountain, and that was really awesome. So, um, but really awesome. And Ryder did pretty good. Poor dog. I wish I could have made him a bigger coat and have a hood that would cover his head. And I don't know, maybe I just need to wrap him up in a blanket. Um, but yeah. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today. Um, I will be live on Thursday, so there will be an AA meeting Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, YouTube and Facebook. So I'll be here. Thank you for all coming. And remember, if you're new here, you're welcome. And if you're not in the chat, I understand. Um, just subscribe and be here for the next ones. And listening can also help. So I love you guys. If you need help, make that call. Google AA. Um, there's meetings everywhere, and you're not alone in this fight. There's a lot of us that are battling the same thing. So just know you're not alone. I love you guys. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Stay sober.